Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to do frosted text in Inkscape. It's really cool and it's really fun and it's really simple to do. So let's jump right in. Now you can see I already have 3 layers set up. One of them has the demo, the other one is empty up here. One has the background, which you don't really need to have, but it's always recommended if you're going to be doing frosted text to have some kind of background that you can see it against. So let's get started by hiding this layer with the demo. And then we are going to unlock and use this layer called frosted text. So in frosted text, use the text tool, which you can use by pressing T on your keyboard. And let's just enter some text here. I'm going to center this on the page so it's easier to see. And we're also, as you can see, using sans serif font. And I have it set to heavy because that's easiest to see. And I'm going to add some spacing as well so it is easy to read, but also so that we can see where the glow comes between the different pieces of text. Let's resize this as well, make it pretty big. And now we're ready to go. So go over to the Fill and Stroke tab, choose Fill, and you can set it to whatever you want, but I typically like to use white when we're doing frosted text. You can put it somewhere like say around 50%. That's usually good. And then we're going to duplicate this, add a gradient, and let's come over to the snap tool, make sure that snapping is on. Then come to the node editor, which you can access by pressing N on your keyboard. Then enable the grid, which you can access by pressing Shift 3 on your keyboard. And drag this gradient so that the nodes are at the top and bottom of your text. And if you want, you can adjust this so that the gradient comes a little bit lower down and also begins a little higher up as well. And that gives you a nicer effect. Now this is one method that you can use. It's very simple and straightforward and it already looks somewhat frosted, but we want it to look even cooler than that. So what we're going to do is we are going to blur this text I just added on the top. And then I'm going to select the text on the bottom and adjust the opacity on that so that it is a little bit lighter than it was before. Then we're going to duplicate that again, add stroke, turn off the fill. Make sure the stroke is nice and light. You don't want it to be too heavy in this case. And then we're going to blur it just a bit. And then I'm duplicating it again and turning the blur off on the duplicate. And we can adjust the opacity or the alpha value to whatever we need it to be. Of course, it doesn't have to be the exact values that I use. You can do this however you like to do it, whatever effect you're aiming for. And you can already see this looks pretty cool as is. What I'm going to do here now is duplicate again, turn on fill, turn off stroke, and then I'm going to add another gradient, and this will give us frosting coming from a different direction. Again, we're going to go back to the node editor, turn on the grid, and adjust this gradient to be exactly where we need it to be. So now it's coming from the top to the bottom. And if you don't want snapping enabled in this case because maybe you need to do a little more of a careful adjustment, you can turn it off, or you can hold shift on your keyboard while snapping is on to temporarily escape from snapping. Good, and there we go. That looks pretty cool as is. So we can play with this as much as we like and get some really cool effects. Or there's one more thing I can show you, which I really love to do, and that is we can actually use clipping and we can layer that on top. So I'm duplicating the text here. I'm going to move this up, turn on the stroke and turn off the fill. So just make sure the stroke is visible this time. And then let's duplicate that text, make it dark, well, make the stroke dark, and then we're going to turn it up quite a bit so that it's visible. Blur it like this. Then we need to move it down on the page, so it's below the first set of text that we had. We can duplicate that as well. And then from the layers and objects editor, or panel I should say, make sure that you select the text that is behind. Right, let's see, that should be this one here. And the text on the top. And then we're going to set clip. And now you have text that is blurred on the inside, or frosted on the inside, but it is not frosted on the outside, which looks really, really cool. And we can make that even cooler by going ahead and duplicating the one on the top, turning the stroke up, and then blurring that stroke as much as we need to. We can put that at the bottom. Now you can either use a light color like this to give you that sort of gray effect, or you can make it dark like this, or you can use a gradient. There are many options that you have, and it's really just up to you and your creativity for what you want to produce. I accidentally deselected that, so let me just select it again. Okay, there it is. And we'll adjust this gradient as we need so that the darker color is at the bottom here. Let's turn on snapping for a second and snap these to the bottom. And there you have it.